Hey, Phantomaniacs, welcome to the newest unboxing here on the Needless Things YouTube channel. I have once again repositioned my phone, so who knows if everything's where it should be or whatever, but we're going to keep going because I am excited to have this Ardath Bey, which, by the way, news to me, Ardath, E instead of A right there, in my head forever. For a long time, the Mummy was a monster that I really loved for whatever reason. I think a lot of it probably had to do with Scooby-Doo. And the Mummy is, I don't know, I'm not going to get into it now because on an upcoming episode of the Needless Things podcast, we're going to kind of talk about the Universal Monsters and discuss what makes each of them what they are. But, mummies were definitely my jam for a long time, and then I hit a point where I watched this original Universal Monsters, The Mummy. I was like, man, this movie's a little slow. I'm not sure I love it as much as I thought I loved it, but I do still love the iconography of The Mummy, and obviously this is just a great action figure, and I'm kind of obsessed with getting as many of these Universal Monsters characters as I can, because NECA does such an amazing job with them. And obviously he's got a lot to offer. I mean, look at these different portraits. We'll get into it once we open the figure up. Beautiful packaging. I really like the way that they've displayed the figure and all these different looks on the back. Got a nice shot on the side. And of course the panel opens up. The figure revealed in all of its grotesque majesty. And then the beautiful poster style front of the box. This is an eye catcher. If you're in a store that displays them like this, as opposed to doing library style, which I don't love, but several Targets in my area now, they've got so many of these NECA figures, which I gotta wonder, is this a problem? But they've got so many that they're all just bookcased like too deep, like 2 figures deep. I don't know. It seems like not a great thing. Bottom of the box, we've got credits for everybody involved with bringing this incredible action figure to life. Let's open it up and check it out. I've been on this weird thing this year where I do runs, like I know I have to do marathon unboxings, like I have to do quite a few up front, and I'll have a couple of weeks loaded up. So I'll go a couple of weeks without doing any reviews. Just my weekends have been very, very busy. I like that they've got the accessory set worked into the backdrop here. So I get weirdly out of practice, I guess. I love how NECA is experimenting with where to do swappable parts. Like the head doesn't have to come off. Let's not mess up our scroll. The head doesn't have to come off at the top of the neck for every figure. They are in this place now that I really like, and that for years, when I used to write toy reviews instead of doing videos, I would say I am good with companies if they could just decide on appropriate articulation. I don't need every figure to be articulated in exactly the same way, because sometimes it takes away from the overall aesthetic of the figure and just is not necessary. I like when companies play around with where articulation goes and how swappable parts work, and really do what's appropriate for the figure and the character, as opposed to just, oh, well, we have to maintain uniformity across the line. And I think that's something that we've been seeing more of. Oh, weird. Oh, that just pulled right through. That's funny. I think that's something we've been seeing more of in the last few years, where the artistry of toy design is just at a different level now. And I've actually, well, it's probably already posted. I'm doing these reviews out of order because I know where old Ardath here is going on the shelf, so I can go ahead and get him out of the way. So chances are last week, probably, there were a couple of reviews where we talked a lot more about the artistry of toy design. But NECA, as far as articulated, larger scale, oh my gosh. Ugh. So this is a common thing too lately, is the rigidity of these trays, I have noticed is a problem. Well, if you look, I don't know if you can really tell, this is molded a little too far down from the hat and a little too high up on the bottom of the neck. So there's no access point to get this head out of here. Gosh, that was ridiculous. Okay, now we just got to get the figure out without tearing it to pieces. Look at that. Almost beautiful. Could use a little cleanup before I started this one. Put the accessories off to the side and take a look at that portrait. Is magnificent. I'm glad the fez is not removable. I'm glad it doesn't have a soft goods tassel. Not necessary. I mean, this alone is a tremendous portrait. Like, I almost don't even need the creepy skull portraits. There we go. I've said it before, but it's wild to think back to the years when NECA, like, you couldn't get eyes that were pointed in the same direction. Like, you'd have to look back in Toys R Us, back when that was still a thing. You'd have to go in Toys R Us and look at different samples of the figures to get one that didn't have goofy cross eyes or some other kind of issue. I love that the robe, look at how well that works too. We don't have to have double jointed elbows on him. It's not necessary. It's just got this nice, big, beefy joint that gives more than 90 degrees of a bend. I think it looks great. Very well done. And this is a little bit of a softer plastic, so when you're moving it, like right here, you can feel there's some flexibility. Look at the paint on the robe. Really nice wash to bring that detail out and make it look aged. This front piece is a separate piece. Waist. He's got a great ball jointed waist. Tons of range on that. And this whole robe, bottom part of the robe, is softer plastic. And then here, guess what? He doesn't need legs. All he needs is to be able to stand up well. He does not need super articulated legs. So I am so glad they didn't do some crazy thing like just slit all the way up here and give him some crazy legs. Because Ardath Bey, I hear the E, he's not Spider-Man. I said it time and time again. Not everybody is Spider-Man. Look at the crisp white of that shirt, the shirt underneath. Then those hands. He's got the ring. The detail on that, phenomenal. NECA are masters of the craft. I don't know that anybody is doing a better job in 2020, well, 2024 and 2025. because he probably came out at the end of last year. I haven't seen him in a store yet. I ordered him from Best Buy as soon as he came in stock on their website. Stands nicely, and we've got, you can see just a little rotation there, but he does have, it feels like, oh no, I hope he doesn't have the old school ball jointed. I think he does. So for years, NECA used like a ball peg for their ankle joints, and it was terrible because over time the figures would develop what I called the NECA lean. It feels like he's got that same design. That is not a good thing. I would have preferred them. Well, you know, worst comes to worst, I'll just pop those feet off and he'll stand on that robe. But maybe it won't come to that. So there you go. Basic articulation, but they decided, look, this is what this character needs, and we're not going to go beyond that just because. All right. See, he's already got the NECA lean. I'm just kidding. That was just me being incautious. So here is look at the neck. So that emaciated, mummified portrait. Here, we can get closer in than that. I mean, as far as putting on your shelf, oh, I hate this though. This is becoming more common on these NECA figures. So I will complain that is an issue that I've been seeing crop up more. That's not great. I love this. And as much as these two portraits look awesome, I really do think I'm leaving this one on the shelf because it's just so sinister and menacing. Let's see how hard it is to swap this out. Pops right off. Great. So let's put our super mummified skull portrait on there. Pops right in nicely. And we've got some alternate hands. Oh boy. Alternate hands. One, and I like how NECA gives you your specific grips, so you're not just having to use the same ones for everything that don't really fit. Let's see there. And then a pair of desiccated mummy hands that look excellent, but again, I think I'm just using the more human portrait, or the non-rotting portrait. Well, no, again, I used the right word before, desiccated, because he's not rotting. Got that lamp or burner, whatever, I can't remember. Oil burner. Cane. Nice, slender, well-designed, well-painted. And then the stone knife, which works with this hand right here. And that's probably going on the shelf like that. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and do a little swap on that. So the wrist is up inside the sleeve. It's going to be a little more difficult to get to, but pops right out. Ooh, but how is the knife going to be... He's going to be stabbing his sleeve there. That doesn't That doesn't quite work out, does it? What do they got on the back? Let's see. Oh, look. They have cleverly sort of concealed what it looks like. But I guess you can turn it off to the side. Maybe. All right, let's see. Have to pull it out, put it back in that way. That's about as good as you can get with that. Ooh, a little limitation there. Not so sure about that. And then finally, the paper scroll. Not sure how I'm going to display this, if at all, but look, both sides, nice weathered parchment. Great printing on there, looks good. So I don't know if I'm going to leave that knife in his hand because it kind of doesn't work really well with the sleeve. That could have used some more thought. Maybe we could have had a removable sleeve, or like it popped off around the arm and I don't know, but that kind of doesn't work. Man, look at that. I love that. But I think just your standard Ardath Bey portrait. That's the winner. I mean, look at that. That's great. So there he is. Oh, he's got kind of a lean going on there. Ardath Bey from The Mummy. Is it a must-have? No, the Mummy itself, the Mummy version is the must-have. But this is a great, great figure. So if you're a Universal Monsters fan, then I think you do need this on the shelf. I dig it. Really, the only issue I've got is that knife kind of just doesn't work with that sleeve. Otherwise, looks really cool. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, tell your friends about Needless Things. And until next time, buy what you like.
Smash that like button if you like Needless Things.